All success is based on a combination of things. Often, these are opposite pairs that must work in harmony. Talent requires hard work. Calculation requires evaluation. Good strategy requires tactics to succeed. Many assume that chess players are all gifted mathematics, but I can assure you that in my school, I preferred history and literature. In fact, I did recently write a book. However, it's not a diet book, and the title is How Life Imitates Chess. It's not a recommendation to learn chess. Also, the game has much to offer. The book is about the tools that chess gave me, and what I learned about decision-making during my chess career. I spent my life thinking about thinking. And I believe everyone in every field, at work and in their personal lives, can benefit from careful consideration of their own mind and their own results and how they reached those results. We are here today to talk about anticipating the future. And I'm quite used to this from chess. In fact, if I seem a bit distracted at any point of the speech, it's because I'm already thinking 6 or 7 pages ahead. And before we begin discussing ideas and theories, don't forget that at some point, they must be transformed into action. Leonardo da Vinci was one of the history's greatest thinkers, but he also understood the necessity of action. 500 years ago, he wrote, "Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do." My entire career in professional chess, even my chess style, was all about action. I dedicated my life to strategic thinking at the chessboard, and now I'm directing those energies and experience into books, public speaking, and to changing the disastrous state of the government in Russia. Planning and evaluation must work in harmony with computation. Self-confidence must be balanced with a willingness to learn from mistakes, from our mistakes. There are many other parallels between successful chess thinking and successful thinking in business and in other areas of life. Everyone has a goal of seeing into the future. Successful predictions mean profit. Bad predictions mean disaster. Accurate forecasts mean safety, opportunity, and success. My main goal here is to reclaim the word strategy. These days, you hear the word strategy applied to almost everything, no matter how trivial. Every day, people use this word strategy more and more, and every day, it's worth less and less. Management guru Peter Drucker wrote, "Long-range planning does not deal with future decisions, but with the future of present decisions." With the future of present decisions. Future tactics are not strategy. Tactics are predicated on calculation and if. Always on if. If he does this, I do that. If he captures my pawn, I'll attack his knight. If our competitor raises prices, we will increase production, and so on. These are programmed reactions. There are no goals at all in these reactions, and strategy is all about goals. Understanding the future of present decisions is a profound concept. It's evaluation combined with calculation. And once we understand strategy, employing it is merely a question of desire. Strategy should not be confused, as often happens with tactics. It's easy to get caught up in quick reactions, tactics, and mistake them for strategy. This is dangerous because bad plans can succeed with good tactics, and vice versa. So the big question is, what type of action is required in response to an event? Tactical reaction or change in strategy? That's probably the most important question any leader in business, politics, or elsewhere faces. A chess saying goes, tactics is knowing what to do when and where there is something to do. while strategy is knowing what to do when and where there's nothing to do. When there is no immediate threat, no clear opportunity, that's where strategic thought is paramount. Companies and managers that are quick to blame bad strategy and change it regularly really don't have any strategy at all. They're simply moving from one tactical skirmish to another without any strategic direction. And one of the best examples of good strategy and good tactics combined comes from something we do not do today. In December 1903, the Wright brothers made their famous flight at Kitty Hawk. Nearly 200 engineers and scientists died before them trying to invent the airplane. The Wright brothers succeeded where others failed because they recognized that they have to make planes stable to avoid plane being flip-flopped in a mid-flight. And they succeeded. They solved this engineering problem. It's less well known that the invention of the airplane took place not only in North America, but in South America also. But the Brazilian inventor, Alberto Santos Dumont, was a wealthy idealist who was a little interested in the commercial possibilities of the airplane. The Wright brothers' breakthrough arguably was one of the greatest inventions in the human history, but they did not believe that it was good for business. They did not believe that the plane was good for hauling cargo or transporting people at long distances. They laughed at the possibility that the plane would ever cross the Atlantic. And in fact, their pessimism was shared by American scientific community. In 1910, American scientific magazine wrote that to affirm that the plane can revolutionize the future, it's to be guilty of the wildest exaggeration. And that's why by the end of the World War I, America, with its largest automobile production in the world, was the last country among those who had airplane industry. But everything was changed by a career engineer with entrepreneurial instincts entering the aviation business. As you can guess, his name was William Boeing. Back in 1910, William Boeing didn't even know how to fly and was living in Seattle at the West Coast, at the state of Washington, far from where the most aeronautic research was going in the East. Boeing didn't have the technical knowledge of the Wright brothers or financial resources of Santos Dumont. What he had was a vision of the potential of flight and the ability to develop a strategy to achieve it. Implementing our strategy requires a combination of evaluation and calculation. In the business world, you have to understand not only what is happening, but why. Of the millions of points of data, which are the key factors? In chess, if you show the same position to two strong players, they may have different evaluation based on a mix of experience and calculation. In a mathematically finite system, you can calculate everything. Chess is too big for this. So strategy is essential to guide our calculations and decisions. Some people think that chess can be calculated to the end, but that's a wrong idea, because the number of all positions in the game of chess, all possible positions, contains 45 zeros, which is more than the number of atoms in the solar system. I think we can agree it's enough. Despite the best efforts of psychologists with their maps of subconscious and scientists armed with brain scans, human thought is still best described by metaphor, poetry, and the other devices we use when we want to express things that we do not entirely understand. Not being a poet, I will concern myself with the more practical mission of what we might call executive brain management. We can't sit around and expect experience to accumulate along with gray hair. Learning from our mistake is the least of what we should ask from our experience. To get more, we must demand it, cultivate it, and go looking for it. Intuition is where it all comes together. Our experience, our knowledge, and our will. So one of my chess experiences, in 2003, I played a supercomputer called X3D Fritz in New York. And the game 3 of this match was a perfect example of the situation where strategy and intuition prevailed over calculation. After losing game 2, making terrible blunder, I had to win game 3 by all means, and we reached what we call in chess a close position. Position where strategic thought is far more important because there are no immediate threats and force lines. And machine proved to be totally helpless because it could calculate millions and millions and hundreds of millions of positions, but it didn't see, any breakthrough. And it continued these useless maneuvers while I could mass up my forces on the opposite side of the board, preparing for the decisive breakthrough. Every club player, not a very strong club player, could see that the danger was coming, but machine didn't see it because it was not within the horizon of its calculation, and there were too many pieces aboard, and position was too close with the pawn's chains cutting the board in two for machine to understand the danger. And I comfortably prepared the final breakthrough, and eventually the programmers decided to resign to avoid further humiliation. So this example helps us to see that calculation and research can be done to develop strategy and must be done to support strategy. But by no means they can replace strategy. Emanuel Lasker, world chess champion a century ago, exaggerated only slightly when he said that the bad plan better than no plan.